recorder on? Okay. And I'll share the screen right now, and we'll do a couple of things before the rest of the people hopefully get here. Okay. I jumped out of Canvas for a minute to log into it, and that's taking a little while. Here it comes. Come on. There we go. Are you seeing my, yeah, I guess you are. Are you seeing the opening page here? Not finished yet.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, thank you. I don't want to use it just yet. Instead, I've got something else I want to show you. Okay. So, a little spreadsheet. You may have to turn up your Zoom on your device in order to see it. I can increase it a bit. I said I would do this today, so here it is. And I know the people who may have given up trying to join us here are going to yell, but that's not you. What this is how to calculate your grade in the class. How I'm going to calculate your grade in the class. Okay, I'm not going to use Canvas. Yeah, well, after today, I don't think I want to use it again. The first thing you have to do is know how many points you have so far. I want you to know how many points you have and how many more points you need to get an A, B, C, or even a D. Don't think that's going to happen. So you first have to know how many points you're going to need. For the persons that haven't calculated it now, well, here's your number. And here are the first 5 tests that we had, the 2 lecture tests and 3 practicums. What you need to do for yourself, if you have a pencil or something like that, or you can just trust me to figure it out properly, and I will. And if you later on think I haven't, you'll email me and I'll tell you, nope, I got it right, or hey, yeah, you're right, I got it wrong, and I'll fix it. Okay, we will get your accurate grade. But take your number, let's say your number 1, and write down the 5 scores that you've got if you don't know them already. And what's the total? Okay, I could have put this in here for you, but this is a PDF page, and I'm not able to change it here. Okay, find your total going across. Okay, I'll wait a few seconds for you to do that, and maybe if you say got it, something like that, I can get the consensus of when you guys are finishing. Has anybody got it?
I got
I got
mine.
it.
Yes.
Okay. Good. I was beginning to worry that math was your strong point, and hoping that anatomy was. Okay. Some of you already had it. You already had this sum calculated out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to calculate your grade. And if you don't have the total, you can't participate really. You can watch as we do it with the others. Okay, I'm going to start with an imaginary person that wants to get an A. To get an A, you have to have 720 points in the class. Some people have figured out their percentages, and it's an easy, quick way to see how you're doing. Add up the 5 scores, for instance, and divide by 5, and that's your percentage. But I don't grade on percentage. I only end up grading on points. So for an A, you need 720 points. 640 for a B, 560 or better for a C, and 480 for a D. I haven't given out one of those in a long time. This imaginary person has 400 points so far. Okay, 400 of the 500, that's roughly 80%. Now, actually, since he got he, I'll call him he, got 400 points, some of that was extra credit. So they were actually running less than 80%, but they got 400 points so far. Okay, you should know in front of you how many points you've gotten so far. Now, that includes extra credit, but there is 6 more points of available extra credit for Zoom attendance if all the material, the 2-chapter outlines, the histology study guide, and that endocrine practice test are turned in, you can get up to 6 more points. Now here, you may have to play it by ear. Are you going to get all 6 of those? If so, give yourself credit on your piece of paper. If you know you've already missed one, you can't get more than 5. If you know you're not going to turn in the study guides, because there's one or two people who absolutely refuse to turn in the study outlines, so they know they're going to get a 0 there. So, to your best guess, how many extra credit points are you going to get? And those extra credit points are going to be added next week onto the last practicum P4. Okay. So then what's the total that this person has? 406 working. Okay. Now 400 for sure, it's in the bank. And the 6 points we're playing on his nerve because he hasn't really got it yet. But we will assume that definitely he can get it. Now that means a total number of points of 406. You need 720 for an A. So you take the 406 from the 720. And that's what I did here. Okay. Took 406 away from 720. And there's a difference of 314 points. How many points does he have possible to get next week and this week? 100 points for the lecture exam? Yeah. 100 points for the practicum? Yeah. And 100 points for the final. That's 300 points. What about the 6 extra credit? We already averaged it in. We put it there as if he's going to get it. So he can only get 300 more points. He needs 314 for an A. What's the verdict? Can this person get an A?
No.
No, it's not possible. He's going to be 14 points shy of an A, and that's a lot. That's a lot, especially since I won't budge him up to an A if he's only 2 points shy. Okay, when people get like 1 or 2 points shy of the next higher grade, that's within the realm of error. So I go through all of their tests, every one of their 8 tests that they took, looking for mistakes on my part or the test's part. I almost never find them, and so the grade stays. This person was going to probably get a B. Okay, well, let's see what it takes for this person to get a B. Same person, same 400 points, same 6 points of extra credit, same 400-point total. We got to subtract from that from the 640 needed for a B, and it comes out that in the 300 points remaining, the person needs 234 points to get a B. Okay, 230 points. Is that right? 230, 234. Come on, what's with you? Okay, in order to get a B, 234 points are needed. What I wanted to do there, hate it when this gets in your way. I hit the lock button. Okay, can you get 230 points, 34 points? Absolutely. Okay, and that is roughly running around a 60%. Has the person been running at least 60%? Yes, we've been running 80%. This is the grade I'm expecting the person to get. Okay, he would only need to get 150 points out of the 300, 154 actually, to get a C. He doesn't want a C. Nobody wants a C. Okay, he can't get an A. That's the grade he's got to aim for. Okay. Would anybody want to volunteer me using their grade?
You can use my grade.
You can
Okay.
use my grade, Charlie.
Okay. Who said it first? The lights all
I
on.
did.
And that's Maria?
I'm Maria. Yeah, I'm number 23.
Oh, I don't have it. You have it, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Do you have the total?
I wasn't sure if maybe I was calculating it right or not, but it was 490.
490?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right for our class. Okay. And how many extra credit do you think you're getting next week?
6.
Six is the most we can get.
I'll have all 6.
Okay. So we're looking at 496. Well, that's not working out. Okay. Okay. Now, these numbers are useless. They weren't in the formula. Okay, in order for you to get an A, we take the 720 needed for an A and subtract what you've got right now. And that's 496. Now let me see if I can get the calculator to work properly so we can actually see this. 720. Minus the 496 you already have. Okay, you need 224 points next week and Thursday out of the 300 available to you. Okay. You need to run a 74%. I usually round up, but not if it's works against you. You need a roughly 74%. Okay, and you've been running much higher than that. Much higher than that. So you would fill in that number. Do you remember the number I just gave you? No.
Yeah, it was 224.
Thank you. Okay. And then you could figure out what you needed for a B, which is actually 80 points less than that. So
That'd be 144.
thank you. And you're not gonna do that. You're not gonna do that. It's crazy to think it. But I want you to see, what you have to get. Okay. So if you do this when you are preparing for the test and then taking the test and seeing your score, you can figure it out before me. I'll get your score to you that night. I'll get your grade out to you tentatively that night. Tentatively means you get a chance to look it over and get back to me if you think I made any mistake. Okay. But the chart does show that some people will find it impossible. Okay. And a lot of you, not Maria in this case, or the hypothetical person that I made up, a lot of you really are on the borderline. I mean, by a point. And I'm afraid I hope you do manage to stay on the good side of the borderline. But grades average, again, I don't grade on average, but I use it as an indicator. 90s, 91s, they can go away very quickly. They can go away quickly. Okay. So, pay attention to those people that really are close and on the borderline. There's no way to budge somebody up anymore. This is the last 6 points of extra credit. There's no more extra credit. Okay. And I get it all the time. Teacher, can you give me a project for extra credit? What they're really saying is, can you give me a project for which I will definitely get enough points to get a higher grade? That's not the way it works, and you know that. Your grade is based upon the course material that we have had and will have next week. Okay, any questions about that? I know I'll get some emails anyhow about it, but okay. The test on Thursday is lecture test 3. It's at 2:00. And you really need to start on time this time. I will probably schedule a Zoom meeting after it. It will be optional, and it's probably going to be mostly for the people who aren't at the Zoom meeting right now. Okay, but I will talk with you about the practical examination in the next week and the final examination. Okay, but that'll come after. the most important thing on Thursday is that L3 is at 2 o'clock. I'm giving you 80 minutes. That's a hell of a long time for this test. I was asked over the weekend the question, here's the answer. It's almost all text based. There are no images. There are a couple of hand drawings, mostly on the nervous system. Okay. But there are no images, no photographs in this. This is strictly a lecture exam. Next week, on the 16th, P4 is the practicum. Like to get that out of the way first. And we'll do that at 2 o'clock. That's our normal starting time. So we'll do it at 2 o'clock. Then you'll have 80 minutes to work that exam. You'll take this in Canvas, just as you'll take L3 in Canvas. Now, when you take P4, the practicum, in Canvas, okay, with good Wi-Fi, if you finish early, I don't want you hanging around unless you want to take a break. Okay. But the final exam will open up officially at 3:30, and it's only a 60-minute test. The finals are normally 2 hours, but this final is 1 hour because it has only half as many questions. It does not have a 100 question format. It is going to be 50 questions, multiple choice. And when do we get to review for that? Well, we can review for some after the L3 test on Tuesday, Thursday coming up. After this Thursday, I'll set a time. I'll let you know, and you can decide whether or not you want to come. It's optional. There's no Zoom points for it. Okay, that's what optional really means. Okay. The following Tuesday, the 14th, looks like a dead day. That is like today. It's meant to be for review. I'll review with you your practical material and the final exam material that you have left to do. Okay. Now, if you are taking P4 next week at 2 o'clock, and believe me, many of you are going to finish in less than an hour. Some will finish, let's say, in an hour. So you back out of the test after you submit it. And you can go right to our page, our module page, and at the bottom, L4, even though I said I want you to start it by 3:30, you will be able to start L4 anytime after you finish the practical. So you can go from one test right to the next test and finish it. L4 will not be available until we have all started P4. So you come, you'll find the practicum, you take it. When you finish, give yourself a break if you need it for a few minutes or until 3:30, your choice. You can go back to our module and you will find the final examination waiting for you. Questions about that? We have all of after Thursday and all of next Tuesday to discuss that again. If anybody for some reason has another class and they are trying to overlap our final exam, let me know about it. Let me know the instructor and the class that they're teaching. Okay, and we'll get that fixed right away. We have certain time slots that we're each supposed to adhere to in giving final exams. Okay, well, I guess we're done with this. Let me go back to this. things slow down once you get back in Canvas. Okay. You just got to be a little bit patient today. I'm surprised the Canvas has worked as well as it has. It's not perfect, that's for sure. I need to say goodbye to you so I can see that. Okay. On our lecture test, I've told you this before, but that's the idea of a review. Say it again. The indented material that says lecture at the end of it, that's going to be on the test. So the respiratory system is going to be on the test. Okay. You can read it as well as I can read it to you. I need or want to answer questions though, if you have any about particular topics.
Do
I
you
don't
mean
have,
the test Thursday or the test L4?
this is for the test Thursday.
Okay.
Anything that's indented actually would be included in L4. L4 is a list of terms, as you know, and those terms are used throughout the entire course. Okay, but this is for Thursday coming up. Now, if I go down the next module, week 9, there's nothing. Week 10, we do have the integumentary system. Okay. I went over the test last night. I took the test last night, and I only got 98. That tells me, oh my God, I got a question wrong. I mean, I put the wrong answer in for the question. Maybe I better check that question out. And you know what? I actually did miss 2 questions because I went too fast. I went too fast. Well, so I got a 98. That would have pleased me if I were the student. But as an instructor, I don't want to get a 98. Okay, nervous tissue lecture. Definitely going to be on the test. The histology study guide. The histology study guide is one of the 4 things that I've asked you to turn in before you can get your extra credit next week. You don't have to do it yet. Don't rush to do it before Thursday. It's for the following Thursday. Histology study guide. There's a lot of information in there that's good for lecture and lab. But since it says lecture, then some of it will be there on Thursday. Come on down farther. Now we get the autonomic nervous system going to be there for lecture. This lab handout is not going to be. This lecture lab handout is going to be. And tissues part 1 is going to be. Okay, I'm in week 13. I got to remember that. You can help me because I want to come back to this for you. The recordings, they're there for you if you missed something. But otherwise, spinal nerves. And that drawing that I gave you of the spinal nerve layout is important. Organs and systems, part 2. Tissues, part 2 is both lecture and lab. Since it says lecture, it is fair game for the lecture test. The cranial nerves. The endocrine system lecture, which is only a page long, page and a half. The additional models are not on the test because they're for lab only. The histology photos, not on the test. They're for lab only. There are no photos on Thursday's test. Come down farther. The histology and endocrine practice test. I gave you the answers to it, so this is not a challenging exercise, but I do want you to take a blank copy, you get it right here, and fill it in. Even if you only transfer the information from the answers, I think you'll learn. This is for the lecture test, and this is for the lab. It's not due, however, until next week at P4. So I've identified the histology study guide, and this histology and endocrine practice is being due by P4, along with chapters 16 and 17. Come on down a little farther. The lymph, the short lecture, that will be on the test. Now, I was asked an email question on the lymph. Are the drawings going to be included? No, no photos, no drawings except for the nervous system that I put into our lecture notes. All of the terms for the final, that's not for you yet. And a histology test, this is for the lab, it's part of P4. You don't have to worry about that. I have the test down here, lecture test 3 for Thursday. This is where it'll be. You can open it now, but all you'll get is the note that it won't open up until Thursday at 2 o'clock. I've also got practicum 4 in place at the wrong time, but that doesn't concern you because you can't see this on your screen. Okay, it'll be all set perfect. I just needed it there to, so I could find it. Now I want to go back up to week 13. Oh. Looks like it's going to make us wait a bit. Here it goes. Great, I opened up the one I didn't want. On this one though, well, let me come back to it. 13. I know you're wondering, what the hell is he doing? I'm wondering too why I was up at 4 in the morning again, putting this together. Now I can't find the one I want. Okay, this is the one I want, and it's not because of this particular drawing here. This is for lab. This is not for Thursday. Okay, this is for lab. But since we've got it open, let's just go through this one, and you'll see the type of questions that you might get asked. For instance, the Stenson's duct is here, which drains the parotid gland. It's also known as the parotid duct. You need to ask yourself lots of things. What does the parotid gland produce? Saliva. What's its function? Main function is to lubricate food. What type of tissue does it mix it up? The gland is made of glandular epithelium. What kind of gland is it? It's a merocrine gland because it secretes only fluid. Okay. So there's actually more than just name what you know about it. Down here underneath the jaw is the submandibular gland. It has the same answers as the parotid did, also known as the submaxillary gland. Then we look at the pharynx. Did I give you the term vestibule? Okay, no answer means I didn't give it to you, so I'm going to give it to you again now.
You gave it to us, yeah.
Yeah, I thought I did. It's the area in front of the teeth with the jaw closed, where you might put a toothbrush in. That's the vestibule in the front. Here's the nasal pharynx, up high behind the nasal cavity, and the adenoids back here, pharyngeal tonsils, the other name for them. The uvula, the oropharynx, which houses the palatine tonsil. Palatine tonsil is not shown in a different color, but it's right here. It's labeled number 3, it looks like. The laryngeal pharynx. Here's the epiglottis, which is made up of elastic cartilage. Here's the esophagus. The upper esophagus is lined by stratified squamous epithelium, but only the upper esophagus. The rest of the GI tract is lined by simple columnar cells. Okay. This was the trachea. This was the esophagus. Parts of the stomach. This is a pretty nice drawing, actually, for presentation. The smallest part of the GI tract is the pyloric sphincter. When anything gets through there, it can get through the rest. Here's the cardiac sphincter up here, coming in from the esophagus. The fundus is the uppermost part of the stomach. Then the large cardia and the pylorus make up the body. The fundus is not a part of the body. This is the lesser curvature. This is the greater curvature. Attached to the greater curvature is the greater omentum. Attached to the lesser curvature is the lesser omentum. Okay. The most obvious things here should be the kidneys with the adrenal glands on top, the spleen on the left side. Okay. This should be pretty obvious as the duodenum, inside of which what looks like corrugation, surely folds called plicae circularis. Here's a piece of liver, sort of a modern sculpture. But here attached to it is the gallbladder. The gallbladder empties or receives, either way, through the cystic duct, bile produced by the hepatic duct of the liver. Together they form the common bile duct, which is not really shown here, just a tiny, tiny bit. The villi are only found in the small intestine. Inside of the small intestine, the villi are lined by simple cuboidal epithelium. And then inside of that, inside of the villus is the lamina propria of the capillary network to absorb nutrients. And also in there is the lacteal. The lacteal, if you remember, was a part of the lymphatic system. It absorbs lipids from the intestine itself. This is pretty nice and actually pretty easy. In the colon, we have pockets or pouches called hostra, formed by these longitudinal ribbons of smooth muscle, which are called the tiniae coli. Here's the entrance from the small into the large intestines, the ileocecal valve. Then the cecum with the appendix or vermiform appendix coming off of it. Once inside, material goes upwards first, the ascending colon. Then we have near the liver, the hepatic flexure, transverse colon, splenic flexure, descending colon, and sigmoid colon once we enter into the pelvic region. The liver always proves daunting, but when you figure it out, it's really quite benign. We have the hepatic portal vein bringing blood from the small intestine. Untreated blood comes in here, spreads out. I guess this is a baby blue color. Let me get away with it if it isn't. And it delivers that blood to all of the lobules of the liver. The lobules filter that blood, detoxify it, and send it out here and here through these blue vessels, which are hepatic veins. They go out to the inferior vena cava. There's also a red vessel coming in, carrying blood that has already been through this circuit and it's already been cleansed. And this blood is to serve the liver in general. This is the hepatic artery. Hepatic arteries in red go throughout the entire liver. And then when they have reached their capillaries and had their gas nutrient exchange, they exit also through the renal veins and the inferior vena cava. Holding the liver in place in part is this structure, the falciform ligament. This is a lobule. Each one of these in the liver has a central vein in the center. And at each corner, at each of the 6 corners around each lobule, we have this triad. The triad consists of 3 things: a bile duct, a little tiny hepatic artery, and a piece of the portal vein coming from the small intestine. Okay, this is new. This was not here last night. And it's the reason for us really being on this page. I don't think I showed this well enough. We did have a slide of it, but it needs to be shown better. The male and female reproductive system. Okay, so for the male system here in front of us, the testes are the sex organ, and they are also an endocrine gland producing testosterone. That's this area right here. They're manufacturing spermatids, and the spermatids mature into spermatozoa. The maturation takes place in this structure here called the epididymis. The spermatids and spermatozoa that are being formed can also be reabsorbed by the body if they last way too long. The testes are located in a double sac called the scrotum. Then we have, coming from each side of the scrotum, we have an artery, a vein, a nerve, a lymphatic, the cremaster muscle, which extends to here, and also this structure, a tube called the vas deferens. Now, it used to be called by other names. When a person, was sterilized, they would often do a vasectomy. And this is what would be clipped. Now it's called the ductus deferens. Here's the label down here. Used to be the vas deferens. The cremaster muscle, which is just sort of alluded to here in white, raises or lowers the testes. The testes are outside of the body because the spermatozoa cannot function, cannot live at body temperature. That seems strange to me. I always wondered why things got put together like that, but they cannot live outside at body temperature. If it gets too cold outside, the cremaster muscle will retract and pull the testes towards the body. If it gets very hot or warm, then the testes will be lowered. The vas or ductus deferens is the exit of the spermatozoa. And by exit, I mean you have to enter into the body. You have to enter into the body. And the entrance is right here through the smooth muscle of the obliques. This is the inguinal canal, right on top of the pubic bone, the inguinal canal. It's often the source of hernias when too much pressure is placed upon it. The spermatids, actually by this time, spermatozoa, are coming along, and they receive a fluid contribution from this structure here called the seminal vesicle. I spelled it C-A-L, I think it's C-L-E actually. And the seminal vesicle adds fluid to the semen and to the spermatozoa as they're passing by. The fluid that is added is also alkaline in nature, so that the semen is alkaline. The spermatozoa cannot live in its acidic environment of the female reproductive system. So first it can't live inside the male, then it can't live inside the female. So it's got to have all these adjustments made for it. This tube now curves down. You don't see it, but it goes through the prostate gland. The prostate gland has the same function exactly, but not the same shape, same function as the seminal vesicle. This little black dot had to be a loop going around this entire structure here. All those things that we named, the ductus deferens, nerve, lymph, artery and vein, and the cremaster muscle. This is the spermatic cord. In the female, this wasn't here last night either, okay? Here's the uterus, and the inner lining of the uterus is the endometrium. This is the lining that in the fertile female is lost on a monthly basis. During childbirth, it's important to have really strong, smooth muscle, and that's here. This is the myometrium. Here's the uterus. Now this is the normal site of gestation. Okay. And it has rugae of its own right there. And then there is a protective covering or closure to the uterus called the cervix. The cervix is made of hyaline cartilage, the most common cartilage in the body. And after that, the vagina, which also has rugae. What this does not show, okay, what this does not show, it shows somebody's finger here, okay, holding up the model, but it doesn't show the ovary or the oviduct, but I had those on other models for you. Okay, and that's that. Okay, now we're going to take a break for sure, but this is your call. I mean, I've gone through all the material with you, but you need to call it out if there's something that you still don't understand, either about the test itself or the topics themselves. Okay, a reviews for your benefit, obviously not for mine, and there, we don't have time to go through everything, but we can certainly pick and choose those things that give you some concern. Okay, we'll call it 3:10 that we come back, and if you have anything, you can let me know at that time what you'd like to talk about. Okay, if you don't have anything, you're welcome to exit at this point, and we'll see you on Thursday. You will get full credit for the Zoom meeting. Okay, we'll stop the share and see you at 3:10. Okay. Corolla, when's Ireland?
I'm here right now. So
We-
everything's working.
I thought you were headed for Ireland.
Yes, I'm here right now.
Oh, you're there.
Yes.
Here, I thought, no,
Oh
okay.
yeah, no, I'm there. Yeah, there. And everything seems to be working okay, so that's good news.
Okay. We're in Ireland.
I'm in Dublin.
Yeah. Well, just be sure to party after the test.
Yes, I will.
Okay. Okay. I don't know if the rest are gonna wake up soon or take a longer break, but you're here and I'm here. Do you have any questions? Okay, I know that's the most useless statement I have to make. Do you have any questions? But this is your opportunity, or do you think this is too much stuff for you? Well, maybe I should give you some more. Okay. Well, one thing that's good about this conference Zoom bit is that I can make a video out of this tonight, as I always do. And anybody who didn't show up because they thought that Canvas wasn't going to work, they can see it. So nobody had to miss out. And I'll send out an email. Okay. But what do you need to feel more comfortable about the test? Tests with an S.
To be in the last materials, not from the beginning.
There's nothing from the beginning until the final examination. And that's only those terms. You need to be able to define in your own mind what those terms are, so that when I ask a question about them and I say, uh, which of the following, for instance, is the largest? A mouse, an elephant, a dog, or a cat. Okay, then you have to have in your mind what a mouse, an elephant, a dog, and a cat look like, and you would choose the elephant. Okay, that's all it is. So you go through that list of terms and check off the ones that you think you got a mental picture of, or you understand, and that will leave you a short list. That short list is the one that you want to concentrate on, so that if they get hit on the test, you'll be able to answer them. It looks like everybody's room is getting dark. Yeah, I turned on the lights. Nina, do you recall the question you asked me by email?
Grade.
Uh,
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I asked about calculating the grades.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to be sure I answered it for you. And,
Yeah.
And of course, I just did it again, calculating them. How many of you are taking a class either here or at IVC next semester? Show hands is good. Okay.
What's the question, Charlie?
Yeah.
I didn't hear the question. Can you repeat it, please?
Well, you have a show of hands. I asked how many people are taking a class either here or at IVC, next semester. Uh, I was going to follow it up with something, but then when you came on, I lost my train of thought here. Let's see. A couple of people read that email flyer circulated for the CNA that I gave out last week. They said it was really good. They went to the conference, the Zoom conference, and said it was just amazing. So take advantage of those things, especially when it only lasts an hour, and you're not obligated to anything. Okay, I'll tell you what then, if you're not going to ask me any questions, review is, to me, review isn't going over every line. It's to get those things that are difficult. And so I think I'm going to just call it and have you email me any difficulty that you have or clarification that you need, and I'll get back to you as I do everybody. Okay, but I don't want to just sit here. Okay, you should know what material we're working on. Okay, I've given that to you, and so gone over that. Don't want cat whistles back there. You have the time for the exams. Okay. The meeting after Thursday's lecture test number 3 is optional. I'll announce the time for that. That's so we can get started on any review that you may have or anybody may have for the practicum. But the next day, Tuesday, the 14th, we're devoted strictly to those last 2 tests in reviewing for them. Okay. I could make more practice tests. I don't know if you're benefiting from them. I think you do. Most people in reviews say that they have helped. Okay. The practice tests from week 10 the practice tests from week 10 need to be done. By that I mean you take a test, open it up, get the 10 answers. I think one has 15, and you need that in order to earn your extra credit, as well as these 4 items that I mentioned earlier. But last week I mentioned that the practice tests have to be done as well. I'll repeat that in an email to everybody, so everybody's, reminded. I think the practice tests help a lot. Yeah, and I can understand the reluctance to take a practice test and then find out you don't know something. It scares you. But like I said, fear is the best teacher, and you'll learn it if you know you don't know it. Okay, then I'm going to end the session, and unless somebody says stop, don't, or anything like that, I'm going to end the session then for today. And on the test itself will be ready to go Thursday at 2 o'clock. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Charlie,
Yeah,
do we have a practice quiz for this week's lecture?
no,
Okay, thank you.
no, it's not worth it.
Thank you.
Okay,
So you said you would be posting more practice quizzes, right?
I did. But I did a hell of a lot last week, but I'm not going to post any more. No. Okay, I think you've had enough.
Yep,
If,
we do.
if you do them all,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
For the histology packet, do we need to fill out the slides and the text page, or do we just fill out like the definition and function?
Text pages, you're going to have to use the text irregardless. So you
Okay.
need a text page.
Okay.
That helps you find the picture and understand what it is.
Okay.
The slide, no, you don't need that. Okay.
Okay.
And then all I need is a text page and the definition or function, whichever it asks for. And then you can send it to me as a photograph if you want. You don't have to retype it or anything like that. Or you can scan it if you have a scanner and get it done that way.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.